This could be one of the last days I've got on the vineyard. We're expecting rain now for at least the next couple of days, and then I head off to France next Friday. As I've been working alone on the vineyard the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of time for reflection, and even working alone has been managed to be a source of anxiety in some ways, because I think I've cried a few tears in the anticipation of going away and what it's going to bring. But then also just managing your day without having distractions of communication with other people and how you deal with that. And sometimes I think you can be hyper stimulated by your phone, and learning when sometimes you just need to listen to the beautiful birds, like so. There's been a lot of new information that I've absorbed working on the vineyard over the last 8 months, and a few key highlights were the first few weeks when I started. I really could not ride a motorbike, was never one of those kids that spent time on the ATV at family friends' farms. And so I was scared of the ATV. Not only can it be dangerous if you don't drive it appropriately, but there's the reverse button and acceleration and when to accelerate and decelerate. And I used to avoid trying to go on it if I didn't have to, and would prefer to drive up the vineyard. But like anything, if you take the time to learn and repeatedly try something, you get your confidence, which is what happened in this situation. Another highlight of this time has been looking after the young Tempranillo vines and Chardonnay vines at Fighting Gully Road, and watching how a young vine grows. There's something that you do very early on when there's 2 shoots on the very young vine, and it's called pick the leader. And I always thought that there was a beautiful metaphor about life in that, because it wasn't always the biggest one that you picked, but often the straightest, and the one that looked like it would provide the sturdiest spine for the vine in the future. And I just often thought about leadership and what we look for, and sometimes it's having that strong confidence in ourselves. I got to move a dunny. So we had to move a portaloo. One day Tony said to me, we're moving the dunny after lunch. You better eat first. And I looked at him like, are you freaking kidding me? And yep, sure as ever, he dug another hole for us to move the portaloo, about 2 meters up the road. And I decided to be a fussy princess and ask him to make sure it was facing the beautiful landscape on one of the sides of the Buckland Gap. And of course he listened to me and let me go in and check the seating of the portaloo, and if I thought that I was happy with where the door was. And I just thought it was hilarious, because I'm sure we've got the best view of a toilet in all of Beechworth. It truly is the simplest things. And probably one of the more recent highlights in this last year after the smoke taint was having those beautiful pups. Tony, the guy in the vineyard I work with, his Labradors had babies, and just seeing those pups and the new life and them playing together on the vineyard always really brought home to me as a human that it's important as an adult to remember to play. So that really got us through the smoke taint period, and super blessed for that. These dogs also have a hidden talent of being truffle hunters, and I learned from one of the French guys that came onto the vineyard that the nose of a dog in French can also be called la truffe, the truffle, and it looks, because truffles look a little bit like dogs' noses. So we've been lucky that Mark from Fighting Gully Road has let the truffle dogs, hunt around the oak trees to find truffles, and watching them in action on the odd occasion has been incredible. So learning all about hyphae and what is in the ground that makes a truffle I guess increases the chances of there being a truffle, has been great. And just finally getting on the tractor. It was something I looked at thinking, gosh, one day I hope that I could do that. And I didn't expect that the vineyard team here at Fighting Gully Road would entrust me with that. Never drove a manual car when I was back in Sydney. Family never had one. And we got there in the end. Very much so. Got to work out how to drive a tractor, and that was probably a highlight for me. I think I've got a brilliant shot being on the tractor, and who knows how long it will be before I'll be back on this vineyard, but I'm so thankful to Mark for the opportunity of giving this city slicker a chance and letting me come to work at Fighting Gully Road. There is so much to learn in the role of a vineyard manager and people that work on the vineyard, working with the forces of nature. And so I feel very, very thankful for the opportunity and the networks that I've met in Beechworth, and also to Tony, who I worked with, who on our first introduction seemed like a pretty hard man to crack. But I think deep down, he's really enjoyed being able to share his knowledge with someone that wants to learn. And I think maybe he's been able to see some positives in his own abilities to teach people as well. You always learn a lot about yourself being on the vineyard and how you interact with people when the forces of nature get you and what really bugs you. Because the wind can make you angry, vines can slap in your face, there's many different things. But at the end of the day, what are we without connection? Connection to the source, to the earth. That's what drives me, and to people around. So hope you all have a beautiful day. Thanks, Mark.